Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Your ticket stub should say that you're at the Livingston County Board of Commissioners meeting tonight. Today's date is October 28, 2024. I hereby call this meeting to order. We will start with a moment of prayer. Commissioner Domas, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This evening, I wish to share with you the prayer of St. Francis, who was a Franciscan monk in the 16th and 17th centuries from northern Italy.
Commissioner, can you please make sure that your mic's on or you're talking into your mic?
You only need one. I didn't bring a guitar. I only need one. Well, let me start all over again. This evening. I'll be saying with you the prayer of Saint Francis. He was a Franciscan monk from northern Italy, whose words then are as true and as beneficial as they are today, and perhaps for these times, very important for us. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that we may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen.
Amen. Amen. If you'd all kindly stand, remove your hats if you have them, and we'll all recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, could we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Drick,
Here.
Commissioner Helserman,
Here.
Commissioner Domas,
Here.
Commissioner Sample,
Here.
Commissioner Nakagiri,
Here.
Commissioner Deaton,
Here.
Commissioner Smith,
Here.
Commissioner Fiani,
Here.
Commissioner Gross.
Here.
Quorum is present.
Thank you. Item number 5 on the agenda is approval of said agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Support, Helserman.
Motion by Domas, support by Helserman, was it? Thank you. All those that would join in the motion, voice vote, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I'm hearing a 9-0 passage. We're on item number 6, which is correspondence. We have correspondence from Washtenaw County and Wexford County, A and B.
I move to not accept and to dispose of correspondence 6A from Washtenaw County and to accept and place on file correspondence 6B from Wexford County.
That's a motion by Sample, support by Commissioner Deaton. Any discussion?
Would like to say something.
Commissioner Helserman, you have the floor.
I was at Michigan Works meeting. It's a consortium of 5 different counties, Washtenaw being one of them. At the last call to the public, the 2 commissioners proudly talked about this resolution and how they were a sanctuary county and how they thought that was good for them. You know, there's one thing about our country is that each county has its own authority, can do what it wants to do. And I'm just as happy for Washtenaw to do what they want to do, but they have to live with the consequences. And I just point out, there are clever word usages. They're not called, they're called undocumented immigrants instead of illegal aliens. That's a significant difference. But anyways, I just wanted to let you know that Washtenaw County is very proud of this document. So,
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll close the discussion portion. We'll go into a voice vote. All those that would not accept 6A, but accept 6B, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 9-0, voice vote is complete. Item number 7, call to the public. Madam Clerk, have we cards?
I do have some cards.
Please go through them.
So first we have, I can't tell if it's Neri or Nevi Aviles. I apologize if I mispronounced that, from Kent County. Followed by Gemma Lowe from Kent County.
Have a seat. When you're comfortable and ready to go, speak into the microphone. We're recording. You've got 3 minutes.
Mi nombre es Nerida Vilés y vivo en el condado de Kent. Nos oponemos firmemente a la resolución antimigrante que pasó en el mes de septiembre, que es claramente discriminatoria. Si se implementa, es probablemente que la oficina del sheriff recurra al perfil racial. Por ejemplo, aunque nuestro estado comparte una frontera con Canadá, la referencia de la resolución o a la frontera se dirige implícitamente hacia la frontera sur, donde supuestamente hay una invasión, pasando por alto completamente nuestra frontera norte con Canadá. Este sesgo asume que las personas que no son blancas estarán sujetas a verificaciones de inmigración para documentar encuentros, sin tener en cuenta que un canadiense blanco también podría estar sin estatus migratorio. Esto es discriminación racial y una violación de los derechos civiles.
My name is Jeff. I'm just going to translate for her. So my name is Nerida. I live in Kent County. We strongly oppose the anti-immigration resolution that passed in September, which is clearly discriminatory. If implemented, the sheriff's office would likely use racial profiling. For example, while our state shares a border with Canada, the resolution's reference to the border implicitly targets the southern border, where there is a so-called invasion, completely overlooking our northern border with Canada. This bias assumes that individuals who look non-white will be subject to immigration checks in order to document encounters, while overlooking the possibility that a white Canadian could also be without legal status. This is racial discrimination and a violation of civil rights.
La oficina del sheriff no debe preguntar sobre el estatus migratorio de nadie, ya que hacer cumplir las leyes de inmigración es únicamente responsabilidad de los agentes federales de inmigración. Los derechos civiles están garantizados por todas las personas por el simple hecho de ser humanos. Nos acompañan donde quiera que vayamos, independientemente de nuestro estatus migratorio. No están limitados a nuestros países de origen, sin herentes a cada uno de nosotros desde el nacimiento hasta la muerte.
The sheriff's office should not inquire about anyone's immigration status, as enforcing immigration laws is solely responsible to federal immigration agents. Civil rights are guaranteed to every person by virtue of being human. They accompany us wherever we go, regardless of immigration status. They are not confined to our countries of origin. They are inherent to each of us from birth until death.
Exigimos la cancelación de esta resolución discriminatoria y antimigrante. En su lugar, les invitamos a aprobar una resolución en apoyo a licencias para todos en Michigan. El derecho a la movilidad es un derecho civil, no un privilegio. Actualmente, los proyectos de ley Drive Safe están siendo considerados en el Congreso Estatal de Michigan y permitirán a todos los residentes, independientemente de su estatus migratorio, el derecho a conducir sin temor.
It's time.
Can we get additional because of the translation?
No,
No.
it's not in the statute.
Mr. Chair, I would ask that we allow that.
I would suggest you leave your written item with the clerk. Then we have the translation.
Okay, but
Is
for the
that fair?
people who are watching this video, they won't know what's being said in English.
I don't find it in the statute to allow that. But I do find it appropriate for you to have the written document on file here. Then they can read it.
Okay,
All right,
so time is over for
time's up.
Nettie. Yeah,
Gemma Lowe from Kent
Emma?
County.
doing the same thing.
Gracias, Jeff, por traducir.
Para servirle.
When you're seated and comfortable, you may begin. Speak into the microphone.
Mi nombre es Gema y vivo en el condado de Kent, en Michigan, y estoy aquí para hablar sobre la resolución que ustedes aprobaron, la cual habla de inmigrantes y de su discriminación. Movimiento Cosecha es un movimiento dedicado a los derechos de los inmigrantes en todo el país, y aquí en Michigan estamos trabajando en diversas comunidades para apoyar la aprobación de proyectos de ley de licencias para todos. Movimiento Cosecha se opone firmemente a esta resolución antimigrante y exige que se anula.
My name is Hema. I live in Kent County. I'm here today to speak about the resolution you have passed, which is inherently anti-immigrant and discriminatory. Movimiento Cosecha, Michigan is a movement dedicated to immigrant rights across the country. And here in Michigan, we are working in communities statewide to support the passage of the driver's licenses for all bills. Movimiento Cosecha, Michigan strongly opposes this anti-immigrant resolution and demands that it be rescinded.
El lenguaje utilizado en esta resolución partidista es ofensivo y deshumanizante al etiquetar a los inmigrantes indocumentados como ilegales. Cuando una persona viola cualquier ley, ya sea penal o civil, no se le llama ilegal. La ley de inmigración, de hecho, es una ley civil y ser indocumentado no es un delito. Por ejemplo, si alguien aquí está estacionado ilegalmente en una zona no designada, ha cometido un acto ilegal, pero no le llamarían ilegal. Usando un término para etiquetar a las personas, es esto discriminatorio.
The language used in this partisan resolution is offensive and dehumanizing, labeling undocumented immigrants as illegals. When a person violates any law, whether criminal or civil, they are not labeled illegal. Immigration law, in fact, is civil law, and being undocumented is not a crime. For instance, if someone here has parked illegally in a non-designated area, they have committed an illegal act, but would not be called an illegal. Labeling people in this way is derogatory and discriminatory.
Quizás no es de su conocimiento, pero ya existen sistemas federales para arrastrar y documentar la información sobre inmigrantes. Por ejemplo, tenemos documentación del Servicio de Ciudadanía de Inmigración, aquí está, enviado directamente a mí y que dice, esta noticia informa que podemos usar sus capturas de huellas digitales y biométricos, mostrando que hay un sistema de seguimiento de datos. Pedirle a la oficina del sheriff que duplique ese trabajo es ineficiente a sus recursos y se alinea a una misión de mantener a salvo a los residentes del condado.
It may not be common knowledge, but there are already federal systems in place to track and document data on immigrants. For instance, I have documentation from the USCIS, U.S. Citizen System in Action.
Sir,
Immigration
your time's
Services.
up. Again, the offer, you've got it in writing, we'll accept that.
So the data on my here, it
Is
says
the
this
next card-
notice enforcement, the USCIS is able to reuse your.
Ma'am, your
previously
time is up.
captured and
Your time's up.
fingerprint and
It's time to
biometrics.
give up the seat. Thank you.
Yvonne Black, Marion Township,
you.
followed by Raven Odom.
To the clerk. Thank you. When you're seated and comfortable, you may begin.
Good evening, I'm Yvonne Black and I live in Marion Township. The people of Livingston County entrusted you, our county commissioners, with a solemn responsibility to protect our rights and enforce the integrity of government. As a constituent, I'm here to firmly petition for redress of grievances. Michigan's Constitution and Statute MCL 46.11K since 1851 hold the Board of Commissioners responsible for the integrity of Livingston County to uphold public trust and investigate corruption within county offices. This duty includes the power to impeach and remove any officer elected or appointed who violates their oath or bond. In the face of corruption, silence or inaction is complicity. The statute requires you to exercise this authority, and we, the people, deserve accountability. Strict proof through federal court filings, case 24 MC 50988, exposes that respondents, including the Sheriff's Department, Prosecutor's Office, District and Circuit Courts, willfully defaulted on holding proper constitutional oaths and bonds and lawful authority to act, breaching the very trust we, the people, placed in them for their own selfish gains. Absent proper oaths and bonds means they lack authority to act in any official capacity and are in reality mere administrative actors lacking any lawful jurisdiction over law enforcement or judicial matters, consequently violating unalienable rights of we the people, which undermines our system of justice and in fact renders their actions and judgments void, a breach of trust that can no longer be ignored. These officials lack the fundamental authority to act in the roles they claim, placing the burden squarely on the board to intervene without delay. Thus far, the board has seemingly turned a blind eye to known violations, enabling officers to misuse public funds, trample on constituents' protected rights, and engage in behavior that defrauds the people and erodes the rule of law. This lack of action undermines the very foundation of our local government and shows egregious disregard for your constituents. The people of Livingston County deserve a government that honors their oaths and upholds the rule of law. If you as county commissioners refuse to exercise your lawful duty to investigate and remove those who operate without legitimate judicial or lawful authority, then you fail in your own oath to serve this county. Your silence is a message to every constituent that justice will be ignored and corruption will be tolerated. So today I call upon you to uphold your oaths. You have the authority, responsibility, and trust of your community to act and remove these officials who operate without legitimate authority and whose actions have violated the public trust. It is time to restore faith in our county government and show the people of Livingston County that their rights, their resources, and their voices matter. What say you? The evidence is in the envelope, and I hope that Jay shares it with the rest of you. Thank you.
Raven Odom from Kentwood, followed by Brenda Castro.
When you're seated and comfortable, you may begin.
Hello, my name is Raven Odom. I was going to start off my public comment by asking each of the commissioners if they identify as Christian, not because one's religious affiliation is significant to me, but to gauge whether or not I might have a sense of your values. If you identify as Christian, you may be familiar with the scripture, Matthew 25, verse 35, which reads, "I was hungry and you gave me food to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me a drink. I was a stranger and you welcomed me." I'm here today standing in solidarity with Movimiento Cosecha. Together, we strongly oppose the anti-immigrant resolution that you passed in September, which is clearly discriminatory and anti-immigrant. In the hateful resolution that you passed, titled "Resolution to Monitor and Document Contacts Between Illegal Immigrants and Livingston County Sheriff's Office," you explicitly attribute an increase to crime to a group of people. You also deliberately name the actions of an individual. These actions are part of an old playbook, an attempt to take the actions of one person and attempt to stoke fear and paint a picture of an entire group of people. While you attempt to disguise your racism and xenophobia in the form of safety concerns, we see through this. Research actually indicates that immigrants are actually less likely to commit crimes regardless of their legal status, according to various studies. And yet, there's no resolution that calls out the harmful actions of any other group. As has been shared, if the harmful resolution is implemented, the sheriff's office will likely use racial profiling. For example, while our state shares a border with Canada, the resolution's reference to the border explicitly targets the southern border, where there is a so-called invasion, completely overlooking our northern border with Canada. This bias assumes that people who look non-white will be subject to immigration checks in order to document encounters, while overlooking the possibility that a white Canadian could also be without legal status. This is racial discrimination and a violation of civil rights. Instead of maintaining the harmful resolution you passed, we urge you to pass the resolution supporting licenses for all in Michigan. As you work to stoke fear and paint harmful narratives about members of our community, know that a story is also being written about you. Matthew 7:20 says, "Therefore you will know them by their fruit." Douglas, Dave, Frank, Wes, Roger, Martin, Nick, Jerome, or maybe you go by Jay, maybe you go by Jay, I was looking based online, and Jay, you will be known by your fruit. And right now, the fruit you're bearing is smelling quite rotten.
Brenda
Next card.
Castro, Washtenaw County, followed by Tricia Fessler.
When you're seated and comfortable, you may begin.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Brenda Castro, vivo en el condado de Washtenaw. Hoy yo les vengo a decir, a exigir que paren esa ley antimigrante que han puesto aquí, ya que están siendo discriminatorio con nuestra comunidad. La comunidad latina inmigrante indocumentada en el estado de Michigan, somos más de 687,734. Nosotros pagamos impuestos anuales de 8 billones de dólares al estado de Michigan y somos un número de 46,221 inmigrantes indocumentados que somos dueños de negocio. En mi caso, yo soy dueña de un negocio de limpieza legal que pago impuestos todos los años y es una ley que está perjudicando a nuestra comunidad y que en dado caso también va a perjudicar al estado de Michigan porque es dinero que sale de, porque cuando estamos pagando impuestos no echan de ver si son documentados o indocumentados los que estamos pagando impuestos. Son nuestros impuestos que le sirve al estado de Michigan a crecer y están perjudicando a nuestra comunidad con estas leyes antiinmigrantes que están poniendo. Por eso venimos hoy como comunidad, como parte de una empresa, como empresaria de Michigan, a exigir que quiten esas leyes antiinmigrantes que están afectando a nuestra comunidad, a nuestra familia y a nuestros hijos, porque nuestros hijos viven con miedo día a día cuando nosotros salimos a trabajar, si vamos a regresar por esas leyes y pólizas que ponen, de que la policía nos paren y nos piden un estatus cuando vamos a pagar impuestos, eso no nos lo exigen.
My name is Brenda, and I came to address you all regarding the anti-immigration resolution you recently passed. I wanted to talk a bit about the contributions, both economically and in regard to taxes, that those of us who are immigrants contribute. So currently there are about 687,734 undocumented immigrants that live in Michigan. The taxes that we pay on an annual basis are about $8.1 billion. The number of immigrants who are business owners are 46,221. I myself am a business owner. I clean homes for a living, and I pay my taxes on an annual basis because it's the law. The amount of power that we have as immigrants in Michigan, the buying power that we have results in $23.1 billion on an annual basis. And she ended by basically saying that this affects all of us, those of us who are families, who are business owners, our children. We live in fear all the time because of laws and resolutions that are passed like this, and it deeply impacts us, and which is why we were here tonight to speak and address you on this matter to rescind this resolution.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tricia Fessler, Heartland Township, followed by Michael Edward.
Well, Commissioners, first of all, thank you for listening to us tonight. And I just want to start by saying that legal immigrants are different than illegal aliens. So with that, I would like to make a comment in reference to bills 875, 876, and 877. And I encourage you to approve the resolution that opposes these state Senate bills as they are government overreach. I'm also thankful for the letter written by the Health Advisory Committee advising against these bills. And that is all I have to say. So thank you so much for your service. God bless.
Thank you.
Michael Edward, it looks like. It's hard to read the last name, Brighton area.
Before I begin, I'm here to redress a grievance pursuant to the U.S. Constitution for which you are bound to. Therefore, time limits do not apply. The matter I bring before you is a matter of national security, not in the text that you think. I'm going to narrow the scope here to two events, September 30th of this year and October 7th of this year. It took place at the 53rd District Court before Judge Bain. Judge Bain is unfit for office, as most of the judges there are. Judge Bain became so irrational that he not only proceeded to litigate from the bench, he proceeded to call several names, and proceeded to even come out from behind the bench in a tirade, paraded back and forth in the courtroom, calling onlookers sheep, some other names, and tried to incite an incident. This is not the conduct of a judge. Obviously, the canon codes just went out the window. Obviously, the professional code of conduct went out the window. And what now applies is a Supreme Court case called Norton v. Shelby County of 1886. Usurpation of authority by any public functionary. That public functionary loses immunity. He is civilly liable for his actions and is to be removed from office. Not only does this apply to the judges, it applies to all public functionaries. And why is this a national security incident? Because if he's willing to do that to me, he's willing to do it to anybody, anytime, anywhere, whether you're residing in Livingston County or anywhere else. This cannot be tolerated. This is warring against the Constitution. That's treason. It's insurrection. It's domestic terrorism as defined by Congress of 2001. Further, there is evidence to support that the courts have been extorting, racketeering money through the court cases, through the bonds. I suggest you take a hard look at these courts and shut them down completely until a forensic audit is done on all of the accounting. You hold the budget key. If you're going to continue giving these courts money, then you yourselves, that does not apply, thank you very much. You yourselves
No, sir,
are
it does,
applied-
no,
I am
sir,
under the
it does
Constitution,
apply.
Sir, excuse me, don't interrupt me.
I will interrupt you. It does apply. You still have 10 seconds, but you have to obey our rules here. You cannot cause a disturbance.
Are your
for the
rules
rest of us.
superseding the Constitution?
We don't answer questions. You're allowed to talk to us within 3 minutes. Your 10 seconds is left. Whatever you wish to say, say it.
If you
can
fund the
also,
courts-
you can also come back and speak at call to public number 2 later in the agenda. So there's 2,
Okay.
but finish
Well,
up in
we
10
the people have a
seconds.
right to assemble and redress our grievances without a time limit, period.
No, the
Under the
time limit is
Constitution.
statutory.
And if you usurp your authority, you will be held accountable as well. Tick-tock, time is up. You guys calling to be a constitutional county, you're a joke. County, the sheriff, constitutional sheriff, no way in hell. You guys have usurped your authority. If you give a budget to this court system, you are complicit in the crimes that they are committing. You need to shut them down. We've had discussions before.
Point of order, Mr. Chair, his time is up.
Thank you. Relinquish your seat. Next card, please.
Connie Johnson from Howell.
Good evening, Board of Commissioners. I'm the happy new resident as of last Thursday of Livingston County. I came from Milford, which is part of Oakland County. I'm the acting media, marketing and communications director for Michigan for Vaccine Choice. So I'm very familiar with Senate Bills 875, 876, and 877. We've been watching that process carefully. I want to commend the board for approaching a resolution to oppose these bills. I will be at the hearing in Lansing on Wednesday. I am coordinating on behalf of Michigan for Vaccine Choice, multiple doctors, nurses, vaccine injured people, and a gentleman whose child is about to be kicked out of public school for not having an exemption because his school won't take a written notice from him as prescribed in the Michigan statute. So I just wanted to say bravo. I hope that the chair or one of the commissioners will be submitting a card to oppose these bills, or one of you, even better, would be willing to go to Lansing to testify. And I'll be available for contact after the meeting if you would like to reach out to me so that I can help coordinate that. And I want to thank the commission for allowing this time.
Next card.
I have no further cards, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
I have Lori Cowan.
Thank you. Lori, can you unmute yourself?
Yep, thank you. I'm Lori from Unadilla Township. And I just wanted to say, I might have the names wrong, that I commend Hema, Nettie, and Brenda for speaking tonight at Call to the Public, and I support everything they say. And it's just a shame that you wouldn't let their interpreters finish. You give privileges to other people that support your views and extend their time. And it's just unfortunate you didn't do the same tonight. Thank you.
Krista, the next.
I have Mary Witalik.
Mary, can you unmute yourself? Mary Witalik?
Hello.
There you go.
Okay.
Good evening. You may start.
Thank you. Mary Witalik, Greeno Township. I would like to again commend those speakers who spoke against that hateful bill to document, to track and document undocumented immigrants. But I also want to take issue with your rejection of the communication from Washtenaw County. That resolution points out numerous fallacies in statements in your immigration resolution, and particularly about Livingston County. So are you, I don't know, are you so blinded by your need to feed the frenzy of this extreme position that you cannot accept even any correction of your statements? I have witnessed before in these committee meetings, commissioner meetings, that there is a demonstrated, I don't know other word to use other than hatred from towards Washtenaw County simply for being a liberal county. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you for your time. And I get one last thing to say. If I am elected to be a commissioner, I will be introducing resolutions to roll back that resolution to document and track undocumented immigrants. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
I have Janine.
Janine, can you hear us?
Yes.
You can
you hear
unmute
me?
yourself.
Can you hear
Janine,
me?
your last name? Yes, we can hear you, and your residence.
Janine Ayer, Genoa Township. Commissioners, I'm commenting in favor of the resolution to oppose the Senate Bill 875, 76, and 77. And I thank you for that resolution. Turning vaccine recommendations into requirements violates bodily autonomy and informed consent. And of course, my body, my choice. Concerning the immigration comments, I'm a daughter of, well, my grandparents immigrated from Mexico, and I grew up hearing Spanish, and then I married an immigrant, legal immigrant from India. My husband is brown. My daughters are brown. I am in favor of immigration, but legal immigration. Just walk across a border and get free phone and free, stipend and welfare benefits. That's not how it goes. My husband had to go through a process. He had to go through education. We're talking about a different thing. I am for legal immigration, and I hope that these ladies can, I don't know what their status is, but I know that the Biden-Harris administration just kind of waved a magic wand and declared certain people legal, and I don't know about that. I also want to repeat what I commented earlier when this resolution was passed, that keeping records of illegal immigrant crime is done by the federal government. I wonder if the ladies have gone before Customs and Border Patrol boards or what have you. If you go to cbp.org, you'll see, how they keep track of things. And then the week after this resolution was passed, the DHS reported that they know that the Harris-Biden administration facilitated 13,099 murderers to cross the border and be set free into the country, and 15,811 rapists. So, that is the reason. That's the same thing that the federal government does. So
You have 15 seconds remaining.
Thank you. So anyway, I'm for immigration, but legal immigration is what we need to promote. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you.
I do not see any other hands, Commissioner.
And neither do we. So with that, at 6:40 p.m. on our clock, the first call to the public is closed. We're on to we're on to agenda item number 8. It consists of 7 subparts, A through G, all concerning minutes. Can I get a motion?
So move, Gross.
Can I have a clarification? Is it all 7?
Yes.
Moved by Gross, supported by Deaton. Any additions, corrections, or objections to the 7? Seeing none, I'll close discussion. This will be a voice vote. All those in favor of the motion, kindly say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the vote is 9-0 to approve 8A through G. We're now on to item number 9, which is entitled Tabled Items from Previous Meetings. I believe there are none unless a commissioner wishes to amend or correct. Seeing none, we're past number 9. We're on to number 10, entitled Reports. Does any commissioner have a report they'd like to make? Commissioner Gross, you can start.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mhm.
I was fortunate enough last week to attend the monthly meeting of the Human Services Collaborative Board, and there was a very nice presentation made by a representative of our health department, as well as a representative from the Hunger Council. And I bring to your attention the fact that They, in conjunction with the Meals on Wheels folks, have come up with a really, really neat little handout that shows a map of the county and all the various locations that can provide food, free food. It's a resource guide for pantry and grocery programs, seasonal food programs, dine-in, carry-out dinners, produce carts, food mobiles, Meals on Wheels, and an organization known as To Your Door Food. And on the back of the form, there's listed individual locations, churches, senior centers, others that provide all of these services. This is really, really neat. And those folks, Meals on Wheels and the Hunger Council, are planning on a very wide distribution. I have copies of this for each of you. If you are desirous of getting additional copies, perhaps hand out to your constituents when you get an opportunity. They're available either from Meals on Wheels or other folks with the Hunger Council. This was just released recently. I'm not sure how soon they will have these in volume, but I will keep tabs on that. And if anybody wants a handful or more, please let me know. So I have one for each of you here, which I'll distribute later. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. Commissioner Nakagiri, you had your hand up.
Yes, I just wanted to say with the resolution that was passed in Washtenaw County and the interest in that resolution demonstrated here tonight, I think it would be appropriate, and I just given my colleagues a heads up, to distribute our resolution statewide. We didn't do that. I think so. I'm at our next meeting, we'll be planning on forwarding a resolution to share our resolution. So citizens, commissioners throughout the state of Michigan will have both sides of the story. Thank you.
Thank you for that report. Commissioner Helserman, report.
We had a grand opening for the EMS base in Fowlerville. Our administrator did all of the pulling the strings and organizing behind the scenes. Roger Deaton came and gave a nice speech. And there was a good crowd from the community there. And a lot of local officials, especially from Cohocton and Putnam, because they're wanting their own open house someday soon. So it was very good. And thank you for everybody that was involved with that. So.
Commissioner Smith, you have the floor.
Thank you. I also had the chance to attend the La Casa Gala last week. And as you know, La Casa is one of the few 501(c)(3)s that we provide some direct funding to as part of a match. And I am beyond proud of our support of La Casa. It's a shame that we need a facility such as that. But you may recall when the administrator, Babette Schrank, was here to petition us for funding, that they serviced some 4,000 calls in 2023. And yes, 2023. I'm sorry, 2022. That call rate has increased to 5,000. And it is stunning to me that there is that much need out there. But I would encourage the board to continue supporting La Casa. And if you could afford it personally, to do something personally as well, because this is an organization that to me, it's pitiful that it's needed, but it's so necessary for us to support it at the same time. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any further report? As Board of Chairman, I can report that a FOIA matter has been received from Ms. Lampkin, and it's received as of tonight. And pursuant to the 10-day business statute, our goal is to get it on the November 12th agenda. That then concludes reports. Next up is 11 on the agenda. 11A reads number 2024-10-132. It's a resolution approving an appointment to the Livingston County Foundation Board of Directors, and it's brought to us by Board of Commissioners.
Move the resolution, Mr. Chair.
Support, Smith.
Motion by Domas, support by Smith. Any questions? Any need for any presentation? Seeing none, I'll close discussion. All those voice vote, kindly say aye if you're in favor.
Aye.
Any opposed? 9-0, that passes. Next up is 11B. It's number 2024-10-133. It's a resolution approving an appointment to the Livingston County Road Commission. It's brought to us by Board of Commissioners. Can I get a motion, please?
So move, Helserman.
Support.
Thank you. Motion by Helserman, support by Domas. Any need for questions, analysis, any objections? Go
The
ahead.
candidate is here, I think, and another of the road commissioners are here. I think it might be good for him at least to stand up and wave to us and maybe give a speech if he wants to. I don't know if the road commissioner is not known for to be orators, but.
I'm ready to vote on it.
I have some questions.
Some questions? Mr. Crane, come on up. Have a seat, make yourself comfortable. We're recording, that's why we're using the mics. If you want to stand, that's okay too. We've got a standing. Okay. Question,
Mr. Crane.
Commissioner Nakiri, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Crane. It was brought to my attention, the speed limit on Blaine Road, which has been a long-standing issue. Blaine Road is in Heartland Township. The commissioner that has jurisdiction. My understanding is that there's been progress made to reduce the speed limit to 35, but it's being blocked by Mr. Goro. Do you know anything about that?
The biggest problem with those speed limits is we can't adjust them. It's all state police. So we don't have the authority to change the speed limit on a road. What we do is we'll go out and we'll do a speed study, it's called, if it's requested by a township or we do a speed study. That information gets passed on to the state of Michigan and they make the determination whether it should be raised or lowered. So we have no control over it other than we will do the study.
That's different than what I'm being told, but I won't.
Yeah.
We don't have enough time to get into the details, but I will follow up with you after the meeting.
Yep. No problem.
Second question, the benefits offered to road commission employees, is it still a fully defined benefit pension plan?
Yes and no. I would say that not really. I mean, I wouldn't call it a pension plan. There's a savings plan for them, but I don't know if there's a pension plan for it. I would have to get back to you on that.
Okay, I would appreciate if you got back with me on that. Thank you. That's all I had, Mr. Chair.
Any further or other questions to explore? Seeing none, I'll close the discussion and questions. We'll go to a voice vote on 11B. All those in favor kindly say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
The vote is 8-1 for passage of 11B. We're on to 11C.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming up. 11C reads, a resolution approving appointments to the Livingston County Veteran Services Committee brought by the Board of Commissioners.
Motion to approve sample.
Support.
Motion by Sample, support by Domas. And if my notes are correct, there are two gentlemen under this resolution, a Mr. Wallace and a Mr. Hundley. So we all are on the same page. Any questions needed? Any analysis? Any objections? Commissioner Sample.
Yeah, I'd just like to add that Livingston County is very lucky to have these two folks willing to serve on this board. They've done quite a service to our community and our country.
Thank you. Further analysis, questions, comment? I'll close that portion. We'll go to voice vote on 11C. All those in favor kindly say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 9-0. Those two gentlemen are hereby appointed. 11D is numbered 2024-10-135. It's a resolution for the annual 2024 apportionment report brought to us by Equalization. Can I get a motion?
Motion, Smith.
Second, Sample.
Motion by Smith, second by Sample. Ms. Boswick, do you want to come on up? Any comment? Any,
These are the millage rates, the special assessments, and the drain assessments levied in the county. This is everything that's levied for the year.
thank you. Questions? Commissioner Gross?
You just mentioned that everything is levied for the year. Is that calendar year 25 or is fiscal year?
24.
I'm sorry.
It's 24.
So it's
It is for the summer of 24 that you've already received and the winter that you will receive in December. Everything that's levied this year.
now, in my district, Reno Township, they have a number of ballot issues. for
Which I have to
villages.
talk to you about before I can leave. So
I'm just wondering when that will be effective.
they want to put them on the December tax bill. So this is a time crunch I have with this. If I can come before the board at your November 12th meeting after the finance and have this contingent on the approval of the millage, the ballot issues from the clerk. That would speed things up a little bit. Takes them about 2 weeks to get everything printed. And it's just, it's like a time thing that we're dealing with. 2 weeks would push that down to the last week in October. Or I'm sorry, last week in November, which is Thanksgiving. They're supposed to be out by December 1st. They are due to the people. You have to, it's a lien against your property December 1st. So, and you wouldn't even know what it is. We have 6 millages that are up. Yes, it's a big one. So it affects probably 7 townships, I believe. So it's a big rush to get this stuff done.
Can you elaborate on what specifically they are?
We have 3 of them in Green Oak Township. One's police, fire, and I believe an extra operating.
Township operating.
Yep. There's White Lake Schools have one. I believe Heartland has one for roads. Do they not?
Yes, Heartland has one for roads, yes.
Okay. And then the last one is the Howell Parks and Rec. That's like 5 townships in the city. 4 townships in the city.
So your hope is that these 6 or 7 millages will be decided at the ballot.
Yes.
In time for you to turn around and have a resolution through
It won't, I
through the
don't
board.
believe it will be ready. I don't think Betsy
I'm
will
thinking,
have things ready on the 12th, but if we can do it contingent on the approval of it on the 12th. So when she's ready, when she gets everything counted and it's all final, we can get the local units to get their stuff into us. That's what I got right now.
Are these replacement millages? I mean, they're renewals or these tax increases?
Green Oaks are increases. The Parks and Rec is increase. I think the only one that's renewal would be the Heartland.
What is the, how has this been handled in past years?
Same way. It's not, my opinion, and nobody asked me this one, but they shouldn't allow that fast of a turnaround to put them on the winter tax bills. We got to have some time prior to this. You know, they think it's a month, it's not a month. It's very difficult. The winters are horrible to get everything in.
Would the taxing jurisdiction have had the ability to hold the millage vote earlier?
They should.
They did. For me.
Sure.
In Green Oak Township, as she indicated, there's 3 millages, one for police increase, second for fire increase, and the third for township operations, which would include expenses to be incurred as a result of early voting changes to the voting procedure. All 3 of those were on the primary ballot in August. The police and fire were passed. The township operating did not. But they're back on the ballot for the general election. I would expect it might be similar result because there's a group of people who have advocated to vote against the township operating because they think that the funds required for supporting elections is some sort of a scam. It might be conjecture, but in any event, it's my understanding that if all 3 of them pass, the result would be for a property owner whose property is assessed at, say, $400,000, might be an increase in their tax bill of maybe $100, $150 a year. So it's not a huge increase, but you know, for some people, anything over $5 is huge. So, but that's what I know about it at this point.
Any further comment?
Yeah, I would just say, just to share with our speaker and my colleagues, I'm not willing to vote to do anything regarding fast tracking these millages until I have an understanding of what they're for, how much they're increasing, all the details. I mean, and to follow up too, how about the LESA millage? Is that?
I believe that's out there too, yeah.
And actually,
But I don't think that's for this year. I think it's for next year. It's how they're written. Each one of those that are out there, you read how, I mean, it's how it's written.
Okay.
And when it's to be levied.
One more question, if I may. The LESA millage, I read through the ballot language. It looks like it is a renewal, but it's more than a renewal. It looks like they're asking to for essentially a Headley override. Restoring the millage that was initially authorized that has been whittled down because of Headley. Is that your understanding? Do you know one way or another?
They can do that. And so this is it would be throughout the county. Anybody that's got a school district that resides in Livingston County would have an opportunity to vote on that.
Right.
But I don't believe they levy in the summer. LESA levies in the summer. So it would go on the summer tax bill next year. And they could very well do that. We haven't had many succeed doing that, but they could do it. They can ask for it.
I mean, so my question is, what is your understanding of the ballot language? Are they going to do, does it authorize them to do essentially a Headley override?
I'll be honest with you, Wes, I read that early on to know exactly what it says now. I can't tell you exactly what it is. I'll get back with you tomorrow on it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Clerk Connolly might have the answer.
I would recommend you call LESA and talk to Dr. Hubert directly on that, because really our role is to print the language that is handed to us on the ballots. We don't analyze the language. If it comes to us with a typo, we put it on with a typo. But if you have questions on ballot language, please contact that jurisdiction who's putting the ballot language on.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Fiani.
Commissioner Nakagiri, I can confirm that it is a Headley override. So it would be asking for the increase.
Thank you.
back to the original millage.
Yes.
Any further comment? Any further discussion? The chair will inform you that I will be particularly paying close attention with the clerk as to when the certifications are for those.
I can assure you, we will not have this election canvassed and certified by your meeting on the 12th.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, no,
But
this is
sometime,
just too big of an election.
sometime after the 12th, I may get the phone call or I may drop in her office and find out that I need to call a special meeting
Mhm.
because I
You can call a
understand
special
your,
meeting at that time.
that's my hope, to call the special meeting and get a quorum together to
That's
then
fine.
do what you need to do because you have a hard deadline of November 30. Maybe even earlier. I understand your problem.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. I just need to know if I can plan here.
That's the plan.
Point of order, Mr. Chair. The-
Proceed.
Our rules require for a special meeting of the full board to be requested by 3 commissioners. The chair of the full board doesn't have the authority to call a special meeting. The chairs of the committees have the, various committees have the authority, but
I'll obey the rules. Commissioner Gross.
Mr. Chair, I would be in favor of calling a special meeting if in fact one is going to be needed to facilitate this. And I'd like to follow up and just wondering at this point, should we table this resolution pending the additional information?
Excuse me, can I?
No, this
This-
stands independent of that.
Yeah,
This
this
is independent
is
of,
Okay.
everything that has to be in by, I gotta get this to the state by the end of the week, by the 31st.
Okay, I agree.
Okay?
I take back what I suggested.
I gotta push a button here on this one.
In any event, I fully support the possibility of a special meeting.
Thank you. Therefore, the discussion is now closed. We will vote on the resolution 11 D. Roll call kindly.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Fiani,
yes.
Commissioner Gross,
Yes.
Commissioner Helserman,
yes.
Commissioner Domas,
Yes.
Commissioner Sample,
Yes.
Commissioner Nakagiri,
Yes.
Commissioner Drick,
Yes,
and Commissioner Deaton.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
and we recognize your time crunch.
Okay.
You got it. 11E on the agenda reads as a resolution 2024-10-136. It's a resolution authorizing a contract with University of Michigan Sparrow Hospital of Pathology to provide medical examiner forensic pathological services. It's brought to us by Director Feldposh. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved, Deaton.
Support Gross.
Motion by Deaton, support by Gross. This was handled thoroughly with questions. Does anybody need more questions answered? Commissioner
you.
Smith, you have the
Thank you,
floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm gonna put a public plea out to our friends at Trinity Health to possibly give Sparrow a little competition so that what gets me isn't the initial amount, but it's the mandatory 6% increase every year. That's about another $150,000 at the end of this or more. So hopefully, as the hospital in our county expands, that they'll consider providing like-kind services and we can turn to a more stable price.
Thank you. We all enjoy your fiscal restraint. Any further comments or questions before we vote? I'm closing discussion. Please, roll call.
Commissioner Deaton,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Fiani,
Yes.
Commissioner Gross,
Yes.
Commissioner Helserman,
Yes.
Commissioner Domas,
Yes.
Commissioner Sample,
Yes.
Commissioner Nakagiri,
Yes.
Commissioner Drick.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. We're on to 11F. It's number 2024-10-137. It's a resolution to authorize a third quarter budget amendment to the fiscal year 2024 budget brought to us by Fiscal Services. Anyone needs questions?
So move sample.
Excuse me, yes. Motion by Sample, is there a second?
Support Smith.
Thank you. Next, does anybody need further questions answered than beyond what we talked about at FAM? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Sample,
Yes.
Commissioner Nakagiri,
Yes.
Commissioner Dreck,
Yes.
Commissioner
We're at 11G. It's a resolution. Nope, we're at 11F, I still think, correct, Madam Clerk?
no, we finished F.
We finished, Jeff? All right, I forgot to write down the vote. Now we're at 11G. It's number 2024-10-138. It's a resolution to approve letter of agreement with the unions representing sheriff field services officers, also animal control officers, detectives, and corrections officers, brought to us by Human Resources. Can I get a motion?
So move, Helserman. Support Domas.
Moved by Helserman, support by Domas. Does anyone need further questions, analysis, comment, objection? Seeing none, this could be a voice vote, I believe. All those in favor, kindly say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 9-0 is what I've heard. Item number 11H is 2024-10-139. It's a resolution authorizing an agreement with Canteen Services, Inc. to provide inmate food services for our jail. Can I get a motion?
So move, Helserman.
Support Gross.
Moved by Helserman, support by Gross. Any need for presentation, any need for questions or information? Discussion? Seeing none, I'll close discussion. We'll go to voice vote. All those in favor kindly say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 9-0 was the voice vote. Item number 11I. It's number 2024-10-140. It's a resolution authorizing the supplemental appropriation for fiscal year 2024 field services and jail services overtime costs brought to us by the sheriff. Can I get a motion?
So move Gross.
Support Helserman.
Moved by Gross, support by Helserman. Any need of further analysis or questions, information, any discussion?
I have a question.
Commissioner Nakagiri, you have the floor.
Yeah, this is for administration. The funding for the overtime, where does that come from? Are we dipping into reserves?
For this amendment, yes.
The entire amount? How much was contingency and how much is reserves? All right, thank you.
Any further questions or analysis needed by a commissioner? Seeing none, I'll close discussion. We'll move to voice vote kindly.
Roll call.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
do the
Commissioner
roll
Gro-
call with your voice.
Commissioner Gross,
Yes.
Commissioner Helserman,
Yes.
Commissioner Domas,
Yes.
Commissioner Sample,
Yes.
Commissioner Nakagiri,
Yes.
Commissioner Dreck,
Yes.
Commissioner Deaton,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Fiani.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We're at 11J. It's number 2024-10-141. It's a resolution authorizing a renewal agreement with Fiddler Technologies to provide software support services for the Register of Deeds Department. It's brought to us by Information Tech. Can I get a motion?
So move sample.
Moved by Sample, support by Deaton. Does anyone have a need for further discussion or analysis or question? Seeing none, this is a voice vote. All those in favor kindly say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 9-0 was the voice vote. It passes. We're at K. It's number 2024-10-142. It's a resolution authorizing the assumption of addressing responsibilities for Unadilla Township and an amendment of the street naming and addressing policy brought to us by Information Tech. Can I get a motion?
So move Helserman.
Second sample.
Motion by Helserman, second by Commissioner Sample. Any need for further questions, analysis? Discussion? Seeing none, voice vote, kindly say aye if you're in favor of K.
Aye.
Any opposed? Raggedy as it was, I believe we're at 9-0. We're at now L. It's 2024-10-143. It's a resolution authorizing the specialty courts and programs to accept the Community Corrections Grant for fiscal year 2025. Brought to us by Community Corrections, and Sarah Applegate's here to answer any questions if we have any more. Questions, analysis, discussion?
Need a motion support.
So move D.
We'll do that.
Support Smith.
Motion by Deaton, support by Smith. Any discussion? Commissioner Gross.
Thank you. Ms. Applegate, I apologize for not being able to approach you earlier, but the funding from this grant, is that included in the current version of the court's budget?
It's my understanding it is, yes.
It is.
Mhm.
Okay. And does that same situation apply to succeeding resolutions as well?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Any further question? Discussions hereby closed. This is a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Deaton,
Yes.
Commissioner Fiani,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Gross,
Yes.
Commissioner Helserman,
Yes.
Commissioner Domas.
Yes.
Commissioner Sample,
Yes.
Commissioner Nakagiri,
Yes.
Commissioner Dreck.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. We're at item number or letter M. It's number 2024-10-144. It's a resolution authorizing specialty courts and programs to accept the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration Grant for fiscal years 2024 to 2029. Can I get a motion?
So move Helserman.
Support Domas.
Motion by Commissioner Helserman, support by Commissioner Domas. Ms. Applegate is also with us for any questions. Commissioner Smith, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thanks for being here, Ms. Applegate. Does this represent an increase? Am I remembering that right?
Yes, yes.
Do you
This
recall
is
how much? Is it like 10% or?
An increase from, do you mean from previous grants or, I'm
Yes,
sorry?
from the-
Oh, so this is a new grant.
What's the-
This is a brand new grant. This is a federal grant. Yeah, so this is a brand new grant.
Will this allow the increase of participants then?
Yes, we'll be able to increase the number of people we can take. Mhm.
Fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any further question or discussion? Seeing none, discussion is closed. We'll move to a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Helserman,
Yes.
Commissioner Domas.
Yes.
Commissioner Sample,
Yes.
Commissioner Nakagiri,
Yes.
Commissioner Dreck,
Yes.
Commissioner Deaton,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Fiani,
Yes.
and Commissioner Gross.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We're at letter N. It's number 2024-10-145. It's a resolution authorizing specialty courts and programs to accept the state court administrative office grants for fiscal year 2025. Ms. Applegate's here for any questions.
I move.
Support Helserman.
Support by Helserman. Is there a second?
I had it moved by Commissioner Sample.
Is there a second for Commissioner Sample's motion? Commissioner Helserman is the second. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Mhm.
Discussion, questions? Seeing none, discussion's closed. We'll go to a roll call vote.
Commissioner Sample,
Yes.
Commissioner Nakagiri,
Yes.
Commissioner Dreck,
Yes.
Commissioner Deaton,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Fiani,
Yes.
Commissioner Gross,
Yes.
Commissioner Helserman,
Yes.
Commissioner Domas.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We're at item O. It is numbered 2024-10-146. It's a resolution to concur with the Livingston County Aeronautical Facilities Board to decline to exercise the right of first refusal for the sale of the hangar owned by Common Sale Storage LLC. Can I get a motion?
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Domas. Is there a second?
Support Smith.
Thank you. Commissioner Smith has seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, this will go to voice vote. All those in favor of this aeronautical facilities resolution, kindly say aye.
Aye.
9-0 is the voice vote. It passes. We're on to 2024-10-147.
Mr. Chair.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I apologize for the interruption, but there is a document that it needs signed in regards to Resolution 145. Would you be willing to sign that so Ms. Applegate could?
Is that the no lobbying document? Yes, I've read it. I'm prepared to sign it automatically. No, you're okay. That was a good interruption. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. We're at resolution P. It is number 2024-10-147. It's a resolution to concur with the Livingston County Aeronautical Facilities Board to enter into a termination of lease and concession agreement upon the sale of hangar owned by Common Sale Storage LLC. Can I get a motion?
So move Gross.
Support the motion.
Moved by Gross, support by Deaton. Any discussion needed? Any questions? Seeing none, I'll close discussion. Voice vote. All in favor, kindly say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 9-0 was the voice vote. It passes. We're on to 2024-10-148. It's a resolution to concur with the Livingston County Aeronautical Facilities Board to enter into a ground lease agreement and consent to mortgage with Old West Aviation LLC for airport property north and east of the current airport terminal building. May I have a motion?
I move to approve the resolution.
Support.
Motion by Fiani, support by Domas. Thank you. Any need for discussion, questions? Analysis? Seeing none, I'll close that. We'll go to voice vote. All those in favor kindly say aye.
Aye.
The voice vote is 9-0. It passes. We're at 2024-10-149. It's a resolution to hire a financial consultant to advise the Board of Commissioners with respect to the septage receiving station. Can I get a motion?
So move Nakagiri.
Support.
Motion by Nakagiri, support by Fiani. Any discussion? Commissioner Helserman, you may begin.
I'll weigh on this a little. In some ways, I understand and I agree. I'll be supporting this. I had in some ways our drain commissioner is should take the lead on it, but I think with this being such a complex issue, that having our own opinion on this, I don't know, we're not, it's only advice at this point. So we will have, in my mind, this is a second opinion sort of thing that we'll have a different view on it. And I think will be healthy for all the parties involved, not just for us, but Heartland and Tyrone and the septic receiving station and the Drain Commission and the Public Works Board. There are a lot of hands in this. And so I think another quote unquote outside opinion is healthy. So.
Commissioner Smith?
Is there anyone here from the Drain Commission to address this?
I'm seeing none in the room. Multiple eyes ought to be checking our Zoom.
Yeah, one person tried to reach out to me, and when I called them back, I couldn't get an answer. So I don't know. I wasn't able to hear their opinion on this. So.
Yeah.
Commissioner Nakagiri?
Yeah, for those who may not have been at the committee meeting, I'll give a little bit of recap on this resolution. I had an extensive conversation with Hamburg Township Supervisor Pat Hole on who has a wealth of knowledge in the I'll say sewer business. Hamburg Township has their own sewer. They've had in the past significant financial difficulties. And out of that conversation, Mr. Supervisor Hole had mentioned that he had Hamburg Township contract with Plant Moran to do a strictly financial analysis, not an analysis that is looking at the technical side of running a sewer system, but the financial side, where to set the rates, and so that they cover their costs and remain in the black. And out of that discussion, I concluded that would be good for the septic receiving station. We are putting in $6 million. We're backing $6 million worth of bonds for which is a sizable investment, and that I just want to make sure, and I think this board ought to make sure that we are prepared and understand what's coming at us, next. We can't do anything about what's happened thus far. It's already happened. History has already been written, but moving forward, I think we need to have more financial analysis. When questions have come up with regards to the cost of regulatory changes, at Eagle, at the state Michigan government, I don't hear any good answers. Answers lead me to think, we'll just come back to the Board of Commissioners and get another loan. And I don't think that's appropriate. This is an enterprise fund. And anyway, I think we need, it would be good to have a second opinion on the financial health of the decisions that we're going to be making in the future. So.
Commissioner Smith, proceed.
Yeah, quite frankly, I'm a huge fan of the work of Plant Moran across most all their areas of expertise. That said, this is probably something that should have been brought up months ago. We've already received third-party financing suggestions. We've already received third-party cash flows on this. They've been reviewed by our people. It's my impression, the timing is of the essence. I don't think it's going to change our decision at all. But I certainly respect the idea of having a third party look at everything, especially for that dollar amount. But in this particular instance, we're at the goal line, and I think we're about to penalize ourselves some. I'm going to guess $20,000 to $40,000 by getting a review by somebody. It doesn't say who, but whether it's Plant Moran or anybody, I'm sure they'd be very competent. I just think that at this point, the horse is out of the corral and we need to move forward. And to me, I'm always for having a third pair of eyes, but in this case, it just doesn't make any sense to me. So I'll be voting against this.
Any further comment? Commissioner Gross.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mhm.
I appreciate the comments by our esteemed colleague, Commissioner Smith. I too have concerns with respect to the timing. On the one hand, I'm supportive of having another set of eyes, if you will, look at the situation, but I'm really concerned about the amount of time in which that's going to have to be done. This is something we can't wait until next spring. This needs to be immediate, in my opinion. So I'll be voting in support, but I want it on the record that I'm concerned with respect to the timing. Thank you.
Welcome. Commissioner Nakagiri.
Yeah, let me elaborate more on the timing. The decision to go out and float the bonds, both for the REUs to purchase from Tyrone and the fee that we are contractually obligated to pay Heartland Township, adds up to $6 million. We are not revisiting that decision. That decision, we signed on to that when we approved the consent agreement. So moving forward, how are we going to structure the repayment of, are we going to loan the septic receiving station money? Are we going to not loan them money? And if we loan them money, what are the terms and conditions? And so this in no way slows down our moving forward. In fact, we are highly desirous of closing the deal, at least with Tyrone, before mid-November. And this resolution does not impede that those time-sensitive decisions that we've already voted on and approved. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any further comment, question, analysis? Commissioner Domas.
Yeah. This issue with the SRS has been with us an awful long time. I sat on the DPW board for a number of years while this was developing. It has not been an easy issue to deal with, but I do believe that the people who are the most qualified to render an opinion on how this thing operates are the people who are already in our employ. I have a great deal of respect for Brian Junk here. I don't notice anybody on the board here that would be issuing some sort of opinion on this resolution, but I'm skeptical of it and I will not be supporting it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Further comment, further analysis, discussion? Seeing none, I'll close discussion, and this appears to be a voice vote. All those in favor of item R, kindly say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm hearing 7 yes, 2 no. And I think my clerk is nodding in agreement. That's what we both heard. That's the vote. We're on to S. It is number 2024-10-150. It's a resolution opposing Michigan Senate Bills 875, 876, and 877. Can I get a motion?
So moved, Eaton.
Support Nakagiri.
Motion by Deaton, support by Nakagiri. Any discussion? Commissioner Gross.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm in support of this resolution. The information that's been provided is very compelling, in my opinion. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend the meeting when Ms. Smith made the presentation on this. I have to confess, and some of you may be aware, I had some apprehensions with respect to establishment of the Health Advisory Board last year. But I'm really, really pleased with this request from them. I think this is a top-notch presentation on the situation that we're looking at. And I'm thankful that that board has done a good job. And I'm hopeful that our relationship with them will be top drawer from now on as well. So just wanted to make that comment that I fully support this. Thank you.
Commissioner Nakagiri, you have the floor.
Yeah, I would like to share similar comments as my colleague, Commissioner Gross. You know, when we formed the Health Advisory Committee, there wasn't a unanimous decision. There was, concern about how things would work out between the Health Advisory Committee and the Health Department. But on this is an example of working together because the Health Department is in full support. And, I guess, there were some that had raised concerns about, maybe an adversarial relationship. And that's not to say the Health Advisory Committee and the Health Department will always agree. But I think that here's an example of their first substantive, proposal is, I couldn't be happier that we're in lockstep with the Health Department. So I thank the Health Advisory Committee for the hard work that they've done. Thank you.
Amen.
Commissioner Helserman, you have the floor.
They talked about going to a hearing. I don't know as I can go, but if there's any of my fellow commissioners that can go, it seems like it'd be a good opportunity if anybody's available. So.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Deaton.
I would just suggest that everybody who sees these bills, go see who the senators are who are backing them. And make sure when you're voting. Thank you.
Further discussion, comment, or analysis? Seeing none, we'll go to voice vote. All those in favor, kindly say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I'm hearing 9-0 as passing. We're on to item number 12 on our agenda. It's entitled Accounts Payable Reports. 12A reads claims dated October 28, 2024. 12B reads payables dated October 5 through October 18, 2024. Can I get a motion for both A and B?
So moved, Nakagiri.
Support Gross.
Support, motion by Nakagiri, support by Commissioner Gross. It's a voice vote. All those in favor kindly say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 9-0, those 12A and B pass. Item number 13 is call to the public. This is a 2-minute time limit, and we'll go first to any cards that might be available.
Michael Edward from Brighton.
Sir, you consider stand, whatever your pleasure. We've got a standing mic over here. When you're seated and comfortable, you may begin.
All right, because I only have 2 minutes, I'm going to make this very quick. Article 4, Section 4, we are a republic, not a democracy. The language and terms I've heard here tonight are that of a democracy, not a republic. You funded courts that are de facto. I suggest you get in touch with someone who understands, and I will offer my services to meet with this board to go over Norton v. Shelby County, 1886, so you fully understand the ramifications of it and the ramifications of those who violate it. You have to act as jury at all times. Creating office de facto has no authority over we the people. Case in point, Trump v. US, the Florida case. The special prosecutor was eliminated because he was de facto holding a de facto office. The judge there in Florida cited Norton v. Shelby County, 1886 as grounds for that case to be dismissed because the special prosecutor did not exist. He had no authority. You funded tonight special courts. Those courts don't exist under the Constitution. You also are funding millages. Millages are not for the people to vote on. That's unconstitutional. It violates the Michigan Constitution and the US Constitution. Revenue raising can only be done by the legislators, not by the people. You guys got to start, get in tune with what de jure means and how to act as such, and act as a republic, not a democracy. As far as the judges in this county, not one single judge has a proper oath of office pursuant to Article 11, Section 1 of the Michigan Constitution. Not one has an anti-bribery statement on file, nor do they have a foreign agent registration statement on file. pursuant to Article 6, Section 19. Judges, in order to be able to qualify to sit on the bench, must have a license to practice law. Really? What license exists? There are no licenses. Not one single attorney claiming to have a license has an attorney. They have a bar card. It's already been proven in court, and I've done it. There's no such thing as a license. These judges are not judges. They're administrators only. And you're funding de facto offices. You are way off and usurping your authorities here. I suggest, and I offer my services to you guys, and my associates will come in and sit down with you and we'll explain it to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Any
Gemma
other
Lo-
cards?
Yep, Gemma Lowe from Kent County.
You may sit or stand. We've got a mic if you want to stand. When you're seated and comfortable, you can begin for your 2 minutes.
Gracias a Lori para estar en solidaridad con nosotros.
Just wanted to say thanks to Lori for being in solidarity with us.
Venimos nosotros los inmigrantes a enriquecer a Michigan con todo lo que aportamos, además de nuestra comida, cultura. ¿Quién no ha comido tacos? ¿Quién no ha disfrutado una margarita? Ahora que nos conocen un poco más, quiero dejar en claro que esta resolución antimigrante aprobada por esta comisión el mes pasado es muy malintencionada, que pretende sembrar miedo a nuestra comunidad y violar nuestros derechos civiles de pretender averiguar sobre el estatus migratorio de una persona. Este acto de discriminación podría resultar en demandas para este condado. Les pedimos que cancelen esta resolución y que en su lugar pasen una resolución a favor de licencias para conducir para todos y que esto sea en 2 semanas.
Emma says, we enrich Michigan with everything we bring to it, our labor, food, culture. I mean, who hasn't enjoyed a taco? Who hasn't tried a margarita? Now that you know us a bit better, I want to make it clear that the anti-immigrant resolution passed last month by this commission is not only ill-intentioned, but also seeks to spread fear in our community. It violates our civil rights by trying to investigate someone's immigration status, a discriminatory action that could lead to lawsuits against this county. We ask that you cancel the resolution, instead pass a resolution in support of licenses for all in Michigan. The Drive Safe bills currently in the state legislature would allow us to drive without fear.
Cuando se hace cumplir la ley civil, incluyendo cuestiones migratorias, no es responsabilidad de la oficina del sheriff, cuya labor es hacer cumplir las leyes penales.
Yeah, I mean, we demand you cancel the resolution and pass something else instead. Thanks.
We got it.
Yeah.
Third card?
Nettie of Velas from Kent County, followed by Kim Armstrong.
Could you repeat the name again?
Either Nettie or Neri of Aviles, Aviles from Kent County.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Nosotros somos los inmigrantes trabajadores de Michigan, somos quienes cosechamos las manzanas, las blueberries, los espárragos y mucho más. Solo hace falta visitar los campos cercanos y vernos trabajando bajo el caliente sol del verano, bajo la lluvia y condiciones difíciles, para que todos puedan disfrutar de esas frutas y verduras frescas, saludables. Además de cosechar, también empaquetamos productos para que lleguen a las mesas de todos ustedes.
If you're not aware, the fact that Michigan immigrant workers are the ones who actually harvest the apples, the blueberries, the asparagus, so much more. Only one has to visit the nearby fields to see us working under the hot summer sun in the rain and in difficult conditions to provide everyone with fresh, healthy fruits and vegetables. Beyond harvesting, we also pack the products that so they can reach your tables. We aren't just field workers, we're also cooks and restaurants across Michigan, Mexican restaurants, Italian restaurants, Chinese buffets, and even national chains like Denny's.
Somos una fuerza laboral indispensable que no solo trabaja en la agricultura, sino también en la ganadería, en las granjas lecheras, limpiando los establos y cuidando el ganado durante largas horas. Somos quienes limpian las casas, trabajan en hoteles, en construcción y en tantos otros muchos trabajos. Durante la pandemia fuimos reconocidos como trabajadores esenciales y mientras muchas personas en Michigan estaban a salvo en sus casas, nosotros los inmigrantes arriesgamos nuestras vidas y trabajamos porque no podíamos detenernos y no ir a trabajar. Además de trabajar, somos consumidores y pagamos impuestos contribuyendo activamente a la economía del Estado.
We're an indispensable workforce that contributes not only in agriculture, but also in livestock, working in dairy farms, cleaning barns, tending to livestock for long hours. We are the ones who clean your homes, work in hotels, construction, and many other industries.
Kim Armstrong from Brighton Township, followed by West Nakagiri.
You consider stand and be near a microphone, please.
Okay. Good evening. This is really quick. I just want to say first that I support immigration if it's done legally. And I would also just like to thank you for approving the resolution to oppose Senate Bills 875, 876, and 877. And I'd also like to thank the great work from the Health Advisory Committee as well. So thank you all.
West Nakagiri, Heartland Township.
Thank you very much. I want to address two items. One is dealing with language and the use of the term illegal. When somebody commits murder, they're considered a murderer. When they commit rape, they're a rapist. If you commit a felony, you're a felon. If you come here illegally, I don't see anything wrong with saying that you're illegal. Regarding the news coverage here, I'm not sure with 100% certainty who was here, but the media was here. Somebody had told me it was Fox 2. So I'm appreciative that Fox 2 was here to hear the discussion debate. And the reason is it puts front and center in the mind of the electors, the voters, this very important issue of illegal immigration, open borders, a week before the elections. And so when we're talking about an issue of this magnitude, I'm very happy that we actually have it got publicized, and I'm appreciative of whoever made the arrangements to have the news media here. I want to thank them. Thank you very much.
Doug Helserman, Handy Township.
I'll speak from here today. It's going to be brief. I'm of German descent. My parents came, my grandparents came, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents came. During the First World War, they had to deal with the fact that they were Germans. We were fighting Germany. My grandfather told his father, my great-grandfather, in my house, we speak English. Because he grew up in a German-speaking home. In my house, we speak English because we are Americans. My grandmother came from Germany. She came under somebody else's name. Somebody else chickened out and she used the pass. My grandmother was an illegal alien from the time that she was 18 until she was 83 when she died. She was always afraid that somebody would come and deport her, which could have happened. It didn't happen. My uncle, her son, decided not to get a clearance in the Air Force because it would have shown that his mother was an illegal alien. So I have sympathy with this, but the law is the law. And my grandmother was fortunate enough that the law didn't catch up with her, so.
Another card, kindly.
I would like to make a comment if I could, Mr. Chair.
Certainly.
As the county clerk, I just wanted to give some updated numbers on early voting. I'm very excited to see people in this county embracing it. Day one, we had 5,571 votes cast early voting countywide. Day two, which was yesterday, Sunday, 3,677 voters utilized early voting. And today we had another 4,401 voters. So these are phenomenal numbers compared to what we saw for early voting in February and August. And it's great to see this being utilized by our residents.
Thank you. Any further cards for call to the public, number two?
I have no further cards.
Queen, Queen in charge of the Zoom.
I have Mary Vitalik.
Mary Vitalik, can you unmute yourself, Mary, and proceed?
Yes, let's see. So I want to comment on an earlier comment from a speaker that regarding the tens, hundreds of thousands of criminals that supposedly the Biden administration has let loose into the country. This is a complete lie. So that number released by ICE on a regular basis, these are criminals, non-citizen criminals that are unable to be deported back to their home country because they're being refused. So ICE has no choice but to put them into the criminal justice system, which might be federal, state, or local. So they're not being released out to the public. They're being released to a different detention mechanism, not ICE. As of, like I said, at the beginning, just before the Trump administration, the number was 368,000 they're called the non-detained docket, meaning ICE cannot detain them. They can't deport them. They can't detain them. So they're put into prisons or jails or wherever they belong. Now, at the beginning of the Biden administration, so the number went to 368 to 405,786. These numbers have accumulated over 40 years. This is not a Biden.
You have 15 seconds remaining.
Okay, so I just want to clarify this misinformation, which is being shouted by the Republican presidential candidate. It's total xenophobia. It's meant to instill fear. And, it's criminal saying this kind of stuff. If you're in a position of power, check the facts.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay.
Anybody else on Zoom?
I have Frank Irvin.
Frank, can you hear me? Can you unmute and start?
Yes, sir. Good evening, commissioners. I just wanted to apologize to Commissioner Smith. I was online listening to the discussion there on the resolution pertaining to the SRS. I had my other phone on me, different naming convention, but I was there listening, so I apologize. I wasn't able to get over to you. And have a great night, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks, Frank.
Any other Zoom participants?
I do not see any other hands, Commissioner.
Thank you. I see none also. And the second Zoom is now closed at 7:50 PM. Excuse me, Commissioner Smith.
Mr. Chair, if I could just make a quick comment.
I would like you to. Go ahead.
I would like to thank our Madam Clerk for doing a marvelous job in being so flexible to adapt to the early voting and the mail-in and all the rule changes in the last year. And I can't thank you enough for doing a wonderful job. Thank you.
So Zoom number 2, item number 13 is over. Item number 14 on the agenda is entitled closed session. Can I get a motion?
So move Gross. Move into closed session.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion by Gross, second by Fiani. Roll call vote kindly.
Yes.
Or I'm hollered at. Commissioner Helserman,
Yes.
Commissioner Domas.
Yes.
Commissioner Sample,
Yes.
Commissioner Nakagiri,
Yes.
Commissioner Drick,
Yes.
Commissioner Deaton,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Fiani.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. The closed session is over. We're back in open session at approximately 8:30 on the wall clock here.
I move to approve the settlement agreement as proposed for case number 370043, including the budget amendment, and authorize the chairman of the board to sign the agreement upon review of litigation counsel.
Support Deaton.
Motion by Sample, support by Deaton. Any discussion? Discussion is now closed. Roll call vote kindly.
Commissioner Sample,
Yes.
Commissioner Nakagiri.
Yes.
Commissioner Drick,
Yes.
Commissioner Deaton,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Fiani,
Yes.
Commissioner Gross,
Yes.
Commissioner Helserman,
Yes.
Commissioner Domas.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
May.
I, as litigation counsel, have reviewed the agreement and have approved it. So that portion of the motion has been satisfied. And so as chair, you should have authorization at this point to sign the settlement agreement. If I also may comment for just a moment, I want to thank Cindy and Jennifer and Nathan, and especially Cindy and Jennifer, for their participation. They've been extraordinarily responsive on all of our requests. Cindy has been more than patient in trying to walk an attorney through budget issues. They do outstanding work. You're blessed to have them. I would also like to thank Chairman Drick, Commissioner Fiani, and Commissioner Nakagiri for their detailed attention to this throughout and for their participation in the negotiations. Thank you all. It's been a privilege to be able to represent you.
Thank you, Counselor. Unless there's any further business to come before the board, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
So second.
Support Deaton.
Motion by Fiani, support by Deaton. All those in favor, voice vote.
Aye.
9-0, we stand adjourned.